Welcome everyone to MRM Sports. I'm your host, Ronald M. It is Game Week 11 in the Premier League. This is the prediction and preview show of Game Week 11, man. We have a huge match. Over the years, it's been a title decider where the title goes. Is it City or Liverpool? Of course, it is Liverpool hosting Manchester City on Sunday. That's a huge match. I can't wait for that game. Let me call it a bestest rivalry, really. Like it's BFF rivalries. Pep and Klopp are just too nice to each other, too good friends, man. Even the players, there's never that fight, that street fight of a beat. I mean, we saw what Conte and Tuchel did. I want at least half of that between those two managers. I think the fixture is just too nice for everyone, man. But nonetheless, it's going to be an interesting game. Before we delve on to that big game, let's just go through the games that we have this weekend on Game Week 11. We have Friday night football. At least the perfect way to end the week. I mean, just relax on a Friday night and catch some Premier League. We have Brentford hosting Brighton. Then Saturday we have Leicester versus Crystal Palace. Fulham versus Bournemouth. We have Wolves hosting Nottingham Forest. Spurs versus Everton will be the last game on Saturday. Then Sunday we have Aston Villa versus Chelsea. Leeds versus Arsenal. Manchester United hosting Newcastle. That's a tricky game. And, of course, we have Southampton versus West Ham. And the big one, Liverpool versus Manchester City. That's a big game. Let's jump right into it. Before we talk about the tactics or what I expect or the predictions, let me just put it out there, man. I wish Klopp and Pep weren't good friends. I wish they weren't too nice to each other. Of course, they have to respect each other. That's a given. But then, at times, it becomes too friendly. You know, even when best friends play FIFA together, you always have to laugh at a friend when you beat him 4-0 or 4-1 or whatever. Even if it's a tie 2-1, you have to celebrate the victory and just crack a joke at them. If it's a draw, you have to disagree or no, I'm supposed to pitch on this. These guys are just too nice to each other, man. I wish we could have a little bit of Mourinho and Wenger in them, like prime Mourinho and prime Wenger in them. You know, maybe Klopp would be like one Premier League title in 7 years. That's being a specialist in failure. And then Klopp be like, at least I don't need Messi to win the Champions League. At least something like that. Just a little bit of that, man, just to see that rivalry in them. Even the players, man, they're just too nice. I mean, look at KTP and Van Dijk. After the match, they're hugging, they're covering their mouths, they're whispering. And then it was revealed that kids go to the same school. I'm sure they're talking about the next parent-teachers meeting there at school for the kids. I mean, it's just so boring. Give us something to cheer on. Give us a fight, especially for us neutrals, even for the fans. I mean, if you're a Liverpool fan, you want to see Klopp like getting to it with Pep at some point about maybe a rough challenge. You want to see the players rush on to crowd the players injured and push each other around. At least something for us to talk about. I mean, it's just too nice of a rivalry, man. It's like best friends it's like two brother-in-laws, you know. They know they can't fight because one is in love with the sister and the other is the sister to the, it's like two brother-in-laws. The mother-in-law is there, they're just behaving properly. I mean, at times for me, it just gets irritating. But nonetheless, man, I think this would be a huge match. And interestingly, when I was doing my research for this game, Pep has actually won more games. I mean, they've played tough games in the Premier League. City have won 4, Liverpool has won 3, and they've drawn 5. I think this time around, I don't think we'll get a draw. I think everything is written for this game to be a Manchester City win. I mean, City on form, they have the cyborg Haaland. Liverpool on the other end are shocking defensive-wise. I mean, even so the goal Rangers scored, that was it. They were cut right open. So again, man, this game will be something else. I can't wait to see cyborg Haaland versus Haaland. Cyborg Haaland versus Van Dijk, sorry. For me, I think I would love, of course, maybe Pep might identify Gomez and Konate as the weak link of the back four. But I would love to see Haaland bullied or try to bully Van Dijk. And I'd love to see how Van Dijk handles Haaland. Because we've always been taught Van Dijk is fast, is quick, is comfortable. Against even strikers are fast. But then, like, if you think of Haaland, he is fast, he is quick, he is strong. He can score goals, he can hold off defenders. So I'd love to see him do that against Van Dijk. But then I think that would be an interesting battle. And of course, I think Klopp has no choice but to start both Nunes and Firmino. In this game, both teams lack dominating midfield. And City, whenever I watch City, know the midfield wants to be in control of the game. And Liverpool likes to do that as well. But then now, with the midfield crisis they have, if I'm being honest, what will Klopp do? Will he go to a 4-2-3-1, which is now playing? Will he play Thiago and Henderson as two holding midfielders, and then just go guns blazing with the attack. I mean, Nunes up front, Salah with a hat-trick, the Champions League breaking hat-trick, Champions League record breaking hat-trick, sorry. And will he play Firmino? Because I think Firmino is on form. Firmino has to play. And of course, Jota, Diaz is out injured. So Jota has to come in. It'll be interesting to see which tactics it goes with. But then, if it goes with the two holding midfielders, in Thiago and Henderson, I can see City dominating the midfield. And when City dominates the midfield, De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva get on the ball, then you're in a difficult position. You know those two will hurt you, definitely hurt you. So again, man, but with City drew away in the Champions League to FC Copenhagen. Haaland didn't start, so you clearly know this game is for him. He's built, he was bought for these big games. I mean, we've already seen what he did against Manchester United. Will he get another hat-trick against Liverpool? That's a possibility. Imagine, of course, the Anfield crowd will be on City's back. Like the Anfield crowd, they'll make it so uncomfortable for City. I expect boos from the moment the City player has the ball. But then imagine if City go like 3-0 up in the first 30 minutes of the game. I mean, the crowd will be just so quiet. This game is going to be a classic one, man. This game is going to be a classic game. How do we call it? I mean, it can go either way. Liverpool can shock City. But again, if Liverpool shock City, another plot twist for this game. With Arsenal beating Liverpool, right? City has to defeat Liverpool in order to keep that 1 point gap, that gap between them and Arsenal to 1 point minimum. Because you expect Arsenal to win their weekend fixture against Leeds. So if City draws or loses that game to Liverpool, does that mean Liverpool is back in the title race? Arsenal opens a 4 point gap to City. And Arsenal don't have to play City till next year. So again, City will, I think at this point in time, Pep would rather go to the World Cup just a point behind Arsenal or on level with Arsenal. And Klopp can't afford to lose 2 big games back to back, like he lost against Arsenal, sorry. He can't afford to lose against City right now. And if you think about it, that would be like 3 losses out of the big 6 teams. I mean, he has to play, the only teams he hasn't played is Liverpool, Chelsea and Spurs. So if he loses this game, he would have lost to Manchester United, lost to Arsenal, and also lost to City. I think for Pep, that would be an unwanted record this season. It would really put the top 4 hopes in jeopardy. It definitely put them in jeopardy. I mean, he can't afford to lose this game. But nonetheless, man, it'll be a huge game. I can't wait for Sunday. I wish I could just fast forward time or have that game as a Friday night football match, man. It will be a huge game. If I'm to call it, let me go with the City 4-1 win. I think I'll go, 4-2 win. I think City will prove to be too strong for Liverpool. I think currently Liverpool are not in the right position, right place, confidence-wise. Even though they won 7-1, I mean, I don't see them defeating City. Unless if they don't get what's his name? Anthony Referee. I forgot his name, man. The one that hates Chelsea. The one Tuchel was talking about earlier of the season. If they get a good ref will call it to the wire, no favoritism, no, if VAR is on point, then everything is there for City to win this game. For me, I would expect City to win this game. Maybe let's go with a 2-4 in favor of Manchester City. And then let's resume to normal settings. The Friday night game between Brentford versus Brighton. I mean, Brentford is going through a rough patch at the moment. I expected start of the season, I expected them to do good, but then maybe I just overhyped them from the way they finished the league and the way they demolished Manchester United. So for this game, without wasting too much time, I think let me go with a 2-2 draw. I think Brentford will make sure they don't want to lose this game at home, because they might end up falling back into the relegation battle, and they want to be a mid-table team now. And Brighton, as you saw against Spurs, if they can finish their chances, I think against a team of Brentford's stature, Brighton will be able to get chances and finish them off. So I think I'll go with the 2-2 draw. And then the Saturday fixture, we have Leicester versus Crystal Palace. For me, I like what Palace is doing. Like, I was happy when Vieira won his last match. And I think this Leicester side, still with Brendan Rodgers, let me go with the Palace 2-1 win away from home. I think Leicester will continue to strike. They will create chances, but then the way they were shocked by Bournemouth last time around away from home, I think confidence is still low. If Crystal Palace manages to silence Madison, then I would expect them to win. So let me go with the 2-1 victory for Crystal Palace. Then Fulham versus Bournemouth. Man, for the past 2-3 game weeks, I've been giving Bournemouth a loss. And they are the team on form at the moment in the Premier League. They're one of the teams on form in the Premier League. So again, it'll be difficult to call. And Fulham, I'll be worried if I was a Fulham fan. Back-to-back losses. I think it was a 4 or 5-1 loss versus Newcastle. And they lost 3-1 against West Ham. So they've considered 8 goals. I think they need to try and stop that from happening again. And they're home to Bournemouth. I can see this being let's go with a 1-1 draw. I think Bournemouth are in a good place. They can't afford to lose. They'll make sure they don't lose this game. So I'll go with a score draw, a 1-1 draw. And then Wolves versus Nottingham Forest. I think last time around, Wolves versus Chelsea, Wolves were very much underwhelming, man. They didn't lay a glove on Chelsea. They had some chances really, but then they just didn't lay a glove on Chelsea. Of course, they're still searching for a coach. So you wonder how that's going to happen for them. But I think Nottingham Forest, this might be a good game for Wolves to actually get some points on the table, to make sure that they just climb out of the relegation battle. So Nottingham Forest are still, they do create chances, but then they're still struggling a bit. Yes, they drew against Aston Villa the last game on Monday. But Wolves at home, I'll give this game to Wolves just because they're at home and I expect Costa to finally get going and get a goal. So I'll go with maybe Wolves 2-1 draw. Then the last game on Saturday, which is Spurs versus Everton. Conte did get a massive result, like it's back-to-back wins now. I got a 1-0 victory against Brighton, where they had to work and hustle for it. And of course, a 3-2 victory against Frankfurt in the Champions League. So again, Spurs are not playing the best of football, but then you can never count out Spurs when they've Son and Kane up front. I mean, that's a top team for days. That's a huge armor in Spurs side, man. You think of how Kane can. I think the Spurs formation, the Spurs tactics is just Kane drop deep, get the ball, look for Son, feed it to Son. Richarlison just be a nuisance for any team you play against. And of course, Richarlison will be playing against his former side, so you expect him to actually give it a go. And I did get a chance to listen to Frank Lampard's press conference. How, it's a funny thing with Frank. Beginning of the season, everyone tipped Everton to go down. They tipped Frank to be the first one to get fired. I even said that himself in the press conference. But then he's proving people wrong. I think the spirit of Okocha is dawning on Iwobi. I mean, Iwobi has been excellent. He scored a worldie against Manchester United. It was a pity. That goal deserved to win them the game. But then 2 lapses, they got counter-attack. 2 mistakes in the midfield from Ganagay and from Iwobi. Manchester United scored goals. So if they make the same mistakes against this deadly team on the counter, which is Spurs, you'd expect Spurs to also silence them on that part. But then Spurs at home, and they haven't lost at home this season. I mean, Spurs are just impressive at home this season. So for me, I think I would go with the Spurs, maybe a 2-1 victory again. I think Spurs will just grind out the result, get 2 goals from either Kane and Richarlison, or even Son, or 2 or 3-1 victory for Spurs, man. But I expect Everton to get a goal from this. It'll be interesting to see if Calvert-Lewin starts this game. If I was Frank, I would go maybe with a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-2-1. Yeah, something like that. Maybe just stick to the 3-man midfield which played against United. Play maybe McNeil and the guy that brought and Neil Mope, and then Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Just try to give Spurs a difficult striker to handle. And then you have a Neil Mope who can be cute and make those sharp turns in the box as a striker, man, as a backup striker, or as a partner to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But yeah, I expect Spurs to win that game, if I'm being honest. And then Sunday with Aston Villa versus Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea under Graham Potter are undefeated and they've been impressive. They are scoring goals for a change. Like, we are creating chances, and we are betting these chances. I mean, it was a good victory, a 3-0 victory versus Wolves, and a good victory away from home to AC Milan, man. I think Chelsea on a roll. It'll be key to see if, again, do we rest Oba and Sterling, or he decides to start them. I think away from home against an Aston Villa side that can prove to be stubborn, to be defeated. I would love to see Graham Potter start the two strikers, start Oba and Sterling up front, and also with Mount. I think Mount is on form. We can't afford to drop Mount. The only bad news for Chelsea, which I saw, is that Kante will be out again for another 4 to 5 weeks, which is such a huge blow. Because Kante is, I would have loved to see Kante under Graham Potter, man. I would just have loved to see, because Potter is pro football, and Kante, you can't be that destroyer, you can't be the person who starts our attack from the deep line position. But again, man, that's a huge blow for Chelsea to lose Kante to another 4 to 5 weeks. And the sport in the World Cup is in danger. I think France really needs a fit Kante for them to try and retain their World Cup, man. They do, in as much as they have good players all around. I think Kante brings something different from any team he plays for. He brings that energy to midfield that most teams at times do lack, you know. And then on Aston Villa, I think Gerrard, you know, if you say to me in the start of the season who was in danger for being fired, Gerrard or Lampard, I would have definitely said Lampard, because I'd seen the talent Gerrard has, the money, the investment he's got. But again, he's failing to crack it. I mean, there's so much attacking talent, and he's still failing to win games. For me, he's definitely under pressure. And if he gets humbled by Graham Potter at home, like if Chelsea just run through Aston Villa at home, then Gerrard might be under some serious pressure. If he doesn't pick up like maybe 6-7 points till the World Cup starts, I wouldn't be shocked if during the World Cup we hear that Gerrard has been sacked, man. So for this game, I expect maybe a 3-1 victory to Chelsea. I'll definitely give it to Chelsea. I think Chelsea, for me, will win this game. And then we have Leeds versus Arsenal. I mean, the biggest shock of the season for me has been the fact that out of 11 games, Arsenal have only lost 1 game. And they've won 10. Like, Arsenal have won 10 games. I mean, they've won all their games in the Premier League. 10 games in all competitions this season. And all of their Premier League games, they've won them. I mean, this is quite an impressive start for Arsenal. Like, hands down, they are the title contenders now. City are still the favourites, but then Arsenal are up there as contenders. They are the team that we're all hoping City won't win a three-peat in the Premier League to make the Premier League the Farmers League. That's our hope at the moment. Arsenal is the Premier League's hope. That's quite something else, man. But yeah, they did win their Europa League game, and you know, the confidence is so high. Arteta made 7 changes to the team which played in the Europa League, and they did win the game. I think it was a 1-0 victory away from home. So, you know, against Leeds, the usual suspects will be back at it. I mean, Jesus will be back. Your Saka will play, even though he started in the Europa League. I think he will play. Your Xhaka will play. Your Partey will be there. Your Saliba in the defense. Ramsdale at the back as a goalkeeper. I mean, everything is there for Arsenal to win this game. But then Leeds are a tricky side. I mean, I remember when Leeds humbled Chelsea 3-0 at home. So it's not a given that Arsenal will win this game. But then this Arsenal side is showing that they can like nullify teams even away from home. They can humble teams. They can grind a result. I mean, they went to Brentford and won 3-0. So what's stopping them from going to Leeds and actually winning, maybe get another 3-0 or 4-0? But I mean, Leeds can be a tricky side with Rodrigo. I think Bamford is now fit again. So it's a different test for Arsenal. But I mean, I don't see a shocker here. I think Arsenal will win this game 3-1. I think this Arsenal team has goals in them. They have creative players in them. They can get goals. Jesus has been on fire, has been on form lately. And even though he's got like, 5 goals. But then his all-round presence, his all-round play, man, the way he brings in players into the game, the way he holds up the game, I mean, everything is set for Arsenal to continue their winning streak. So I'll go with an Arsenal 3-1 win in this game. And then we have the Manchester United versus Newcastle. Manchester United versus Newcastle. That's a tricky game. For United, that's a tricky game. Everything is there for United to lose this game at home. I mean, this game can go either way. I did watch the Europa League for Manchester United, and it was quite interesting to see the way they were wasting chances. I mean, the keeper for Omonia had the Nigerian keeper. I mean, he had the best game of his life. I mean, even the press conference, the way you're so happy, he had the best game of his life, man. The best game of his life, pulling off save after save. But other than that, it was more Manchester United wasting chances after chances. It makes you wonder, what is Ben McCarthy doing there? I mean, what lessons is he giving his strikers? The way they're just missing and pulling off weak shots, man. I think Ben has to like call them down and just sit down with them and teach them how to finish games off, actually. But nonetheless, man, Newcastle have been impressive. I mean, they've scored 9 goals in 2 games or 3 games or so. I mean, they've been quite an impressive side. And they are getting goals. The midfield is strong. The defense is strong. The strike force now looks strong. So this will be a tough test for United. I mean, if Ten Hag is not careful, this might be a loss for him. And if United are not, if on the day Newcastle get the chances and are clinical, in front of goal. I wouldn't be shocked if this ends at 3-1 to Newcastle. This would be a difficult game for Manchester United. I mean, I think it's more difficult than the Everton game. I wouldn't say it's on par with the Leicester game, but then it is difficult. And when you think about it, Newcastle, outside of the traditional teams which are a counter-attacking team, Newcastle are a counter-attacking side if they want to be. We saw it against City. If St. Maximin against, I think, who is this? Shaw has to play this game. If he goes with Malaysia and he plays against St. Maximin, I think St. Maximin can wash him. If St. Maximin swap flanks and go to Dalo, he can wash him as well. So for me, I think this time around, I will go with a 2-1 win for Newcastle away from home at Old Trafford. I think everything is there, and this will be such a huge victory for them, for Newcastle. I think it will signal them as the best of the rest, if I'm being honest. So I would definitely go with a 2-1 victory to Newcastle away from home. And then Southampton versus West Ham. Yeah, what can I say, man? Southampton, West Ham. I think West Ham away from home. Southampton are in a best place at the moment, but they are a tricky side again, an unpredictable side. So for this one, I'll go with West Ham win away from a win away from home, maybe another 2-1. West Ham are through to the next round in the Conference League. They won against I forgot who they played. Fenerbahce. Yes, I think it was Fenerbahce. They won that, so the confidence is high in West Ham. They are playing good football. Last time in the Premier League, they won 3-1 against Fulham. And I mean, Bowen is picking up goals. The striker Skamaka is scoring goals. So everything is set for again another West Ham win, maybe a 2-1 away from home, man. And of course, we already spoke about City and Liverpool. I think, as I said, I think it would be a 4-2 victory for City, man. But nonetheless, I can't wait from the Premier League. I can't wait to see how will Arsenal be shocked and drop points. Will City just run through Liverpool, man? That's a huge. And who finished game week 11 still on the top 4? Will Chelsea try to hunt down the third position on Spurs? And will City with Manchester United consolidate that top 4 position? Yes, yet they're playing a very tricky Newcastle side, man. So it'll be interesting to see how the weekend pans out. But again, I'll be here to react to the scoreline, to react to the coaches fight on the touchline. I hope Pep and Klopp do go at it. And of course, we'll look at how the league is standing and instead of the top 6 again. Don't forget to like the channel, subscribe to the channel and like the video. Subscribe and subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thank you for the support. Thank you for everyone who has been checking out the channels, man. I'm your host, Ronald. Cheers.